So the Winters and Wildlands update has finally arrived to Noble Legacy, and it might just be their biggest update yet, massively overhauling the world, adding craftable weapons and armor tiers, mounts, a new player scenario, and a whole lot more. So in this video, I'm going to go over everything you need to know about the Winter and Wildlands update. Also, shout out Noble Legacy for paying the King's tax and sponsoring this video. If you want to see more about Noble Legacy, I'll leave a link in the description to their website and a Steam page. But with that, how about we check out these brand new features? The first thing I want to go over is the changes to the world and the new starting quests for Kingdom mode. When you spawn into the world now, you'll have the opportunity to pick which region you want to go to and where you'll inevitably build your village. And after a little bit of dialogue and setting the scene, you'll have about half a dozen options of different locations that you can choose from. Now, you don't have to choose one of the locations the game offers, they're more so recommendations. But if you want to explore and choose your own location to build, there is an option to do so. There's not an overarching story involved with Kingdom mode, so you can basically go wherever you want. They also made it so you can also name your kingdom too, so that's kind of cool. In addition to the Kingdom mode changes, there are some other updates on the map, including abandoned fortresses which have been taken over by bandits and brigands, which will have and drop loot. So now there's a much bigger incentive to explore and maybe find some good resources. In time, these fortress locations will be expanded upon when more quests are added to the game. Another big addition to the map are a handful of new friendly settlements that you can now visit. And honestly, some of the villages and the castles that are in these villages are really cool looking. Most of these villages at this moment are setting up for the groundwork for future diplomacy actions, perhaps even some rivalries. But you can still explore the village and meet the leaders and the locals. You will also see a larger variety of animals roaming the forest now, from rabbits, deer, boar, wolves, and bears. These animals will provide carcasses, pelts, and resources for the village. And definitely be careful, some of these animals do hurt quite a bit. A bow is very useful against them though, so if you keep a bow on you, you should be safe. And lastly, about the map, there are some new points of interest placed around the map and moved around, including bridges, camps, and mine shafts. So if you enjoy exploring, this is the perfect time to check out Kingdom mode. Next, we're going to talk about combat, weapons, and fortifications. Combat has been completely overhauled, adding many more options when battling against brigands and the wildlife, including parries, heavy attacks, dodging, and perfect shots. A stamina system has also been added that will be visible during combat, as well as rebalancing damage values and hit reactions from enemies. Now, we do have a new weapon type as well. Two-handed swords have been added to the game, which can be crafted in the blacksmith, built with its own moveset. I really liked the longsword, and I ended up using this weapon the most while building up my village. Other combat additions include improvements to archery, smarter AI, better line of sight changes, and more reliable accuracy. I would say combat in general has improved compared to its previous state. Definitely needs some work and tweaking, but it's on the right path, and I'm curious to see how combat is going to look as we get closer to the 1.0 update. Shields were also added in the Wildlands update, and same thing, you build them at the blacksmith similar to the longswords. So now that we have all these weapons and armor and combat changes, brigands will raid you on occasion. So while you could use your basic sword you already have, getting better weapons, defeating the attacking brigands, and maybe raiding some of their camps after the fact would be worth it. Now, raids could definitely be a problem if you're not prepared for it, since the brigands can just sneak into your village and knock your villagers out. One thing that will really keep the brigands at bay will be building fortified walls and stone towers, which you can use to protect your village a whole lot better. One thing that will also really help against the raids is setting up your garrison and getting some day and night guards employed. Once you get your garrison upgraded a little bit, your village should be a lot safer. Next up, let's talk about crafting, because crafting, especially blacksmithing and forging, have gotten massive overhauls. Starting with quality of life and UI, resource requirements are clearer and fuel management has been improved, including changes to manually fueling fireplaces and furnaces. Instead of crafting automatically when you interact with the workbench, you can now craft singularly or continue crafting as long as you want, as long as the multiple craft box is ticked on. Now, one thing I did notice is that villagers will sometimes bump you out of the way and start crafting on the same workstation. This may be changed in the future, but for now, a good workaround is adding extra crafting stations in places like the woodshed, the forge, or the smith, so you don't get interrupted while crafting manually. Now, speaking of crafting stations, manual fuel toggles have been added, and some blacksmithing loops that caused resource issues have been fixed. And possibly one of my favorite additions, we have a bunch of new buildings added as prefabs to the default game. Starting with the Weaver is now fully functional and includes recipes along with its brand new prefab. If you like the ease of dropping down prefabs, but don't want to download any of the prefabs off the Steam Workshop, you will have a lot more options available now. There's also a tailored prefab with new workstations that allow you to craft clothing. These clothes aren't just cosmetic, these can be used for you and your villagers, and they will also increase the wearer's stats. Another big addition is the hunting profession and building, set with its own workstations and a tool rack to decorate the space. Employed hunters will go out into the world and hunt some animals and bring some meat back for your villagers. In addition to all the crafting buildings, blacksmithing has seen some of the biggest changes overall. Weapons, tools, and armor have been expanded into multiple tiers. When you visit the blacksmith, you'll see tools required for armor crafting and resource gathering. There are many new metal nodes around the map to gather, which you can then take to the foundry to smelt, and then finally to the blacksmith to craft into weapons and armor. You still start with basic tools, but now you have new quality tiers: copper, iron, steel, and masterwork. Now these better tools are required to gather certain resources. For example, mining iron will require a copper pickaxe at the very least, and granite will require an iron pickaxe at the very least. And this doesn't stop at just you, your villagers can also use these tools, and some recipes will even require them. If you check tool racks in your workplaces, you can toggle and see which tools are available. Blacksmiths will maintain your tools as long as there are resources available, but you can also craft your tools manually if you prefer. Food and cooking has also made some small updates. Food outputs have been balanced a little bit, villagers will cook more efficiently, and some of the tooltips will show the food stats a lot more clear. If you ever struggled to keep up with food supplies, these changes should make things a bit more manageable. Now the next change is pretty big, and probably one of the most requested systems, the Lord's Manor. You can officially build a manor fit for a lord, along with some custom decorations placeable inside. Bringing this, there is also a prefab available if you don't want to build one yourself or use the workshop content. But the new items that can populate the manor include a usable throne. Now this throne might look familiar if you've seen your character sitting on the main screen. Once you officially build up your manor, you can place this throne inside and you can sit on it and just chill. In addition to the throne, there's also a new bed, the King's Bed, and a desk that lets you manage your logistics and collect tax money. The bed appears to be cosmetic for now, but I expect sleeping systems will be added in the future, probably before the relationships and families update. Snapping has also been improved for items like roads, fences, foundations, and chairs, making it a lot easier to build a manor fit for a noble. In addition, there is another new road type, cobblestone roads. So if you want to spice things up and use something aside from the dirt roads, now you have the cobblestone roads. Now probably one of the more requested changes in the Wildlands updates are mounts, which have now been added to the game. You can now get a horse by building a stable, adding a saddle workbench, and a feeding trough. And one horse will automatically come with it, at least for now. If you ever lose track of your horse, because when I first built the stable I couldn't find my horse, you can find it through the villager tab. Just scroll through and find your horse, and then click the track option. The horse feels decent overall, and while I would like to see it increase its speed a bit, it is extremely useful for traveling and exploring the new locations. Just like all the many new workplaces coming in this update, if you don't want to build your own stable, there is a prefab available with everything already set up inside. Now let's talk about the newest scenario and some of the work in progresses going on in Noble Legacy right now. Starting off, there is a brand new scenario after the Greenwood Valley tutorial called the Heart of Gold. This cinematic questline follows Abigail, one of the DLC characters that you can download off of Steam. I've completely played through this scenario and it feels a little bit shorter than Green Valley, but it is still pretty interesting. And one of the really cool things about it, after you complete it, you unlock a new outfit. So unlockable outfits are always nice. We definitely need some more character customizations overall, but with the new armor and outfits, we're starting to get some more variety. Kingdom mode feels like the main way to play if you're trying to play in the long term, but I am more appreciative of these scenarios, especially if they expand more on the character backstories in the future. I kind of like that. All of the characters in this game have a little description when you hire them, and a lot of them are pretty interesting, so it'd be cool to explore some of the other characters in future scenarios. Maybe even bringing them into some of the quests for Kingdom mode when they plan to add some of the quests. Now, a big feature that's been added but is still in alpha phase is multiplayer. The multiplayer alpha is now available on the starting screen if you would like to try it out, and it will support synchronized construction, combat, and being able to manage your village together. Like I said, it is in alpha, so I'm sure there are plenty of bugs that need to be ironed out, so keep that in mind if you decide to jump on some multiplayer games. Extra character slots have also been added, so if someone else plays the game on your account, or maybe you want to play a different character, you can choose from a different character on the main screen now without losing your last one. Now, another big system that is still a work in progress for the game is the new survival mode. While this new survival mode is being worked on, during this time, they're also going to be integrating some groundwork for some resource survival loops and future updates. So yeah, none of the survival mode systems are in effect as of yet, but as time goes on, you'll probably see a little bit more of that going on. But I think that's pretty much everything included in the Noble Legacy Winters and Wildlands update. If you want to see some more information about the Winters and Wildlands update, I'll have a link in the description that links to their Steam page as well as their website. And if you'd like to see more Noble Legacy on the channel, be sure to pay that King's tax of 1 like or 1 sub, hit that join button, become a member, and also thanks again to Noble Legacy for sponsoring this video. But until next time, y'all, thanks for watching, and take care.